Hello everybody and welcome back. Did you miss us? We missed you, that is for absolute certain. We knew that we couldn't wait around for another season of Discovery or Picard or Lower Decks or even Prodigy or Strange New Worlds for the next series of the Ups and Downs. So what we're doing is we're gonna go retro on this. We're gonna do retro Ups and Downs. We're gonna start with one of the most important episodes ever in Star Trek, which is, of course, Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 7, Episode 14, Beverly a Ghost. This is a Beverly Crusher episode, so you know, if you want to watch something else, no, not at all. It's actually pretty good, okay? It opens up on the funeral of her grandmother, Felisa Howard, who has been mentioned in Star Trek before, going all the way back to Season 1's The Arsenal of Freedom. She talks about learning healer tricks off her nana. Now, her nana's passed away. She's on the Caldus colony, which is very much modelled on Scotland, the moors in Scotland. It's a beautiful design, and one of the first ups for this episode itself is going to be the design of the colony. Yes, they are reusing the old Planet Hell set that, you know, they had a standing set that gets rolled out every week. This week it's a cave on Romulus. Next week it's, you know, the Rysian pleasure planet. This week it is a graveyard on the Caldus colony. Everyone is gathered around. Beverly is given a nice eulogy for her nana. It's a pretty strong opening scene. So between the actual aesthetic of the colony and the setting of what's going on and why they're there, it's a nice mysterious up to get going with this week. It's no accident that this is one of Star Trek's not only, but few ghost stories. It's actually based on Henry James's novel, The Turn of the Screw, which was, of course, very recently adapted into the Netflix series, The Haunting of Bly Manor. This is a very, very loose adaptation, and it's more Easter eggs than it is direct retelling of the story. Now, I'll come to a couple of those Easter eggs later on, but some Easter eggs I'm going straight to right now, and they are getting an up for the pure fun of it, is that as you are looking at the screen and you're looking at Felisa Howard's grave and you have all the people standing around them, there are two gravestones just on the hill just behind them. One says Vader and the other one says McFly. I mean, like, I don't think I need to tell you that this is clearly a reference to, you know, Space Jam, which is one of the best films of the 90s. Really, really love this little nod. Star Trek got away with a few of these over the years. Some of them were lost in the remaster. There was a few references to Alderaan, for example, but they got erased out. But these two, they get left in, and it's just a nice little fun. And it's also a little clue to say that this is going to be one of the sillier episodes. They obviously felt they could get away with things like this. The rest of the scene plays out with Beverly first encountering Ronan as she sees him throw the flower down on Felisa's coffin. But the actual, just to close off, the setting of the scene is beautiful, green everywhere, which I really love because green is my favourite colour. Please keep that in mind when it comes to birthday presents this year. They go back to Nana's house after this one, and you know, this is not a side of Beverly that we get to see very often. You know, because I suppose, to be fair, she didn't get an awful lot of episodes where she's the lead, you know, where she gets to take center stage. And Gates McFadden absolutely gets an up in this episode because she gives it everything. She throws everything and the kitchen sink at this performance. Is there issues with the story? Oh yes, there is. But Gates McFadden gives it her all. You know, and it's fun to see, but also we know that when she is able to shine, she can absolutely deliver. She was fantastic in Remember Me. She was fantastic in Descent. And although it's a different kind of fantastic in this episode, she is fantastic. So Rosa's not going to be on very many people's frequent rewatch lists, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't give a stellar performance. You know, one of the things about this episode is that it didn't bother with any kind of subtlety. That was not the point of this episode. So in the fact that she is playing her performance for the people in the cheap seats up at the back, so is the script. You know what I mean? This is the story where she has fun with a candle. You know, you either buy it or you don't. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? So she absolutely does her best to sell us. It's fun in a weird way. Moaning and groaning and reading really erotic novels. And, you know, it's... two of the other Easter eggs, which are much more subtle in this episode, and this goes back to the source material. This goes back to The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. And again, I want to give this an up because it's subtle enough that you'd miss it, but it's also it's nice because it's more, you know, it hangs a lampshade on the fact of what they're doing here. One of the first Easter eggs is the name of the ancestor that Ronan first met is Jessel Howard. His name for Miss Jessel, who is the housekeeper in The Turn of the Screw. And the other Easter egg is the character of Ned Quint, who is named for Peter Quint. Again, Turn of the Screw. So that gets an up. Probably one of the biggest ups of the entire episode has got to go to how wonderful is Shay Duffin as Ned Quint. Yeah, you can't light the candle. I maintain that my accent is as good as his because he is also a fellow Irishman. Yeah, he was born in Dublin and was quite well known for acting in a few well-known Irish roles. He is not concerned about whether you think he's crazy or not. You know, he breaks into her house, no problem. He blows out the candle. He's the only one who actually does something toward stopping this Ronan bloke until the end of the episode. You know, he's like, and to be fair, it's quite straightforward. It's like, just blow out the candle. I'm not really asking you to do much here, okay? It's not a difficult request. Just blow out the candle. Now, this is something that probably you were waiting for from the moment this episode started. A down. Duncan Rhaegar as Ronan. Now, Duncan Rhaegar makes a fine Shakar Edon. Okay, he's very good in DS9 and he has a really good chemistry with Kieran Reese, with Nana Visitor. In that role, nails it. As Ronan, nah. I mean, I get it, he's going for gothic intensity, that's fine, and obviously you work with what you're given, which is not very much, but he's a creep. He's a creeper creep. You know, so, no. Yeah. That's not how your nana did it. Rhaegar was in his 40s when they were filming this episode, and look, before y'all come at me with, oh, but people in their 20s can play teenagers, I first of all maintain, no they can't. I was incredibly upset when I hit my leaving cert and I still didn't have anything like the beard I have today, and yet I was watching Xander on Buffy with a beard out to about there, slight exaggeration. But it is a little bit of stretching the imagination to try and imagine that Ronan is 34 years old. Now, okay, we know that he's hundreds of years old, but you can kind of see that on his face. And as I mentioned, I mean, one of the problems really is he's not a very compelling character. You know, he is sort of he's more of a plot device until the very end. And, you know, unfortunately, that goes toward Brannon Braga's script. You know, he wrote the teleplay, the story was by Jerry Taylor. Now, it's, you know, I see what they're going for. There's a lot of, you know, Catherine and Heathcliff on the moors and this great gothic romance, but it's all just so flat. And actually, when you have characters like Picard or others going, effectively they're standing in for the audience going, Beverly, what are you doing? What are you doing? Unfortunately, the episode doesn't do anything to, if not justify her decisions, it doesn't do anything to actually display why she would want to do any of these things. Yeah, okay, she has some nice thought orgasms, and more power to her. More thought orgasms. Everybody gets a thought orgasm. That in itself is not enough. Now, there is this hypnotism idea that's going on, sure, but it's thin. It's thin. Is he taking over their minds? Is he just giving really good thought orgasms? Also, was that a Horgan on the wall of her quarters? Go you, Beverly. Go you. So that's a down. The actual script of the episode is a down as well. Come on, you kind of knew that one was coming. So, you have fun with the performances in it, but you kind of can't afford the fact that, the story's not great. I'm giving a down to Deanna Troi. No, Sean, what are you doing? Why is she getting it down? She's so lovely. And yes, Marina Sirtis is lovely. But Deanna Troi is an empath. She's kind of telepathic. She completely fails as a betazoid. She should be able to read Beverly's mind-ish. Be able to go, not everything is well here. Maybe I should bring this up with the captain before Beverly quits her commission and beams down to the planet. Bold Deanna Troi. And it's an ongoing joke in Start of the Next Generation that she's very inconsistent in what she can actually do. So we have a little bit of fun with that. I won't go so far as to give it an up, but she does get a pretty important line. Now, put aside for the second of Space Ghost, put aside for the second creepy hypnotic candle, and, if you want to hang on to thought orgasm, you keep that in the front of your brain. But one thing she does say to Picard is that while they don't understand Beverly's decision, she does have the right to make that decision, and you can't argue with that. Now, we as an audience know the context. They don't. If Beverly has fallen in love and wants to throw in her career for that, that is entirely her choice. That's, if she wants to, yeah, cool, can't argue with that. Thankfully, Space Ghost and all that, so we'll come to that in a moment. But, so while Betazoid Deanna is getting it down, yeah, she gets a good line in there at the end, so she's not totally spoiled. Once we get down to the planet at the end, Beverly has basically joined with Ronan, check out the green eyes, and things are crazy from this point on. So first of all, Picard knocks on the door of the house and he walks in to effectively see her giving herself a thought orgasm. And he tries understandably to go, what the F are you doing? Where is Ronan? Who is this Ronan that we keep hearing about? Why is Ronan? Ronan enters the room, and again, blame goes on the script here really, but he makes statements as opposed to trying to in any way explain the situation, and then gives Picard an eld shock, which is like, just one more reason why poor old Ned must have been sick. Ronan goes off to the graveyard where Geordi and Data, who are investigating the cause of this anaphasic radiation that's been now affecting the ship as well. Special shout out to that cool shot of the fog on the bridge with that blink and you'll miss him shot of Riker, because of course Jonathan Frakes was directing this episode. But they have beamed up Felisa's coffin. It is actually a really cool, spooky scene. How do you exhume a body in the 24th century? Just beam it up. And that's kind of a creepy idea. So I really, really like that. Now, Ronan possesses Felisa's body and shocks them both to the ground. Beverly seems to be broken from her reverie, really, when she sees that her friends are in danger. First Picard, now Geordi and Data. And she finally, and when I say she absolutely delivers here, I mean, I spoke before about her delivering for the cheap seats, now she's delivering for the theatre down the hall. She's not happy about it, but yeah, she blasts that guy all the way back as far as Bajor. It is a good ending. It's the breaking of the spell. She's become free, she's got out of it. You're either on board or you're not. It's just one of those episodes. I am. It took a rewatch, but I am. It's a solid episode. It's a lot of fun. And you know what? There are worse episodes out there. Special mention as well, because I didn't mention him earlier on, is to Michael Keenan, who plays Governor Maturin, who'd of course turn back up in Star Trek Voyager as Hrothgar and Star Trek Deep Space Nine as Patrick. That's a stupid question. He's great in this episode. The casting is pretty spot on here. The only issue really with this episode is the script. Everything else is pretty fun. And if you put aside the script criticisms, there's a good bit of fun in here. It's a good, funny episode. I'm pretty sure I'll say the word fun 75 more times. There's a lot of nods, there's Easter eggs. Honestly, you could do a lot worse with your time. That's it for everything now this week, guys. So let us know what you thought of our retro Star Trek ups and downs. Drop any suggestions for anything you'd like to see in the comments below. We'll absolutely be more than happy to go through and read them all. Maybe we'll put up a bit of a poll, see where we're going. In the meantime, you can check us out on Twitter at Trek Culture. You can check out myself, Sean Ferrick, at Sean Ferrick on Twitter as well. In the meantime, guys, have a great week. Live long and prosper. And you're awesome.